Welcome back. We have been talking about some political issues from the subcontinent, but it's time to take a break from there. And only last week we celebrated February 21, Ekushe February as it is called, International Mother Language Day. Whenever we talk about February 21 and International Mother Language Day, we seem to be carried away by our emotions about our native language, Bangla. That's very good. But right now, we live in England and use English to communicate and even to make our daily bread. Our guest today, Mr. Syed Mamnoon Murshid, he's an educationist as well and uses English for many of his official business. So how would you think that we can also talk about other languages, not just English, but any other language spoken in many other countries? They also deserve our attention, and we should think about them too.
Yes, this is a very correct observation. I agree with you on this one. You see, mother tongue, I fully understand and appreciate it's important. Mm-hmm. But say in this country, for success in the mainstream,
right,
I don't think there's anything you can do without the usage of English.
True.
The point is, even in our own country, when we go anywhere else, what language do we speak in? Mm-hmm. If we restrict it only to Bangla and no other language, I encourage people who are of Bangladeshi descent in countries like Italy. Mm-hmm. I have noticed that they speak Italian at ease.
Right.
And to make a living, they have no other alternative but
True.
to speak Italian.
True.
Similarly, if we go to France, we find people speaking in French. Mm-hmm. But we come from a part of the world which prior to independence for 200 years were ruled by the British.
True.
And English has become a lingua franca of the subcontinent. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Indians are good in English. Why? They study the mother tongue, which is regional language. Mm-hmm. They also study Hindi. Many have Hindi, at least 60% have Hindi as their mother tongue.
Right.
Maybe not Hindi, but I'm talking about the Devanagari script as
Yep.
the mother tongue. I don't want any confusion with Urdu.
Right.
You see, but the Devanagari script was created just to perpetuate Urdu in a different way. Mm-hmm. However, the point is, it's important that I think we raise our standard in English and try for a higher education to learn English as well, as I can see the growing middle class in Bangladesh who aspire to go for the young to go abroad and take university degrees.
Right. Even in Bangladesh itself.
Even in Bangladesh itself, further education.
People going for better jobs, for like in multinationals, like in banks.
Absolutely.
The interview is conducted in
English.
And the proficiency of the candidate is measured that way, that if he is good in English, he stands to get a better job in a better company.
The point is, they had taken a census on banking in a small district in Bangladesh, mm-hmm. Tangail.
Yeah.
They found 81% of the checks written mm-hmm. were in English. Tangail is so far away from anything English, but I think people like to sign their name in English mm-hmm. and not in the native tongue, because it's easier to recognize a check signature in English mm-hmm. or the contents of the check pay to Syed Neaz Ahmad. Easier because it's got one spelling.
Shall I give you the figure as well?
Huh?
if you're making out the check.
Yes, well, you'd probably want £1 million, which I'm afraid I don't have on offer.
You just sign it.
You see, but the point is, the contents of the check are written in English. In a way, our district, sandwiched between Dhaka and Mymensingh,
Yeah.
a small district.
It's a part of now Dhaka division.
Division it always was. You see, today it's a part of. I'm not sure whether it's part of Dhaka or Mymensingh.
No, not anymore.
You see, and it was always Dhaka division, which included Tangail and Mymensingh. But later on, Mymensingh, I gather, has become divisions, and so on and so forth. These are administrative changes one can live with. But you see, the usage of English in checks
Also in
is
remote villages, they have these kindergartens, you see. They teach English to younger
Absolutely.
students, you see.
Absolutely.
In remote villages.
No, the point is, look at the present generation and people who are doing well. Who are teaching them English? Is it a British principal? Is it a British head teacher? No.
No, it's our own people.
It's our own people teaching each other English. And people learn English at home.
Right.
So this is the only way to succeed. I'm not saying that Bangla as a language should be deprived. Bangla as a language,
It should be given its due.
it's given its due, and plus a famous Nobel laureate in literature, Rabindranath Tagore, wrote in Bangla.
Right.
If generations ahead of the 25th century, there may be a few languages left, but Bangla will remain predominantly because of Tagore. People will still talk about it.
Yeah. They will read
You see,
him.
because people will
They will read
become,
him, they will sing him.
you see, and people will probably be one language. I don't know what it will be.
And not many people realize that Tagore's music has also influenced the Bollywood songs, you see, the music industry.
Not only Bollywood, I think it's influenced Hollywood.
Yeah.
I think it's influenced Pinewood Studios music in the United Kingdom. These old studios they have, because of the lyrics, rhythm,
Right.
and style, and the high pitch in the voice, which you have in Indian classic music. The rag that comes in makes it even more devotional. That's there very much in Tagore and various other things.
Right. See. Also, like the folk songs of Bangladesh, they have influenced many songs of many songwriters and many song musicians and many music directors to produce songs in Hindi, what they call Hindi, influenced by Bengali music. There's another virus that is going around, apart from political, in the world today, and a number of people have died. There are many theories. Some people say that coronavirus is not probably as dangerous as it is being shown to be, as being perceived to be, and probably something more sinister is being hidden from the public attention by people talking about coronavirus. I do not know. I don't have the means to confirm or deny it, but coronavirus is something, it's a reality, and most of the countries are impacted by this. Even today in London, I think there are several hundred million pounds have been wiped off the stock market because of the coronavirus impact. What do you think of that?
Well, my answer to that is, you have to understand the strength of the Chinese economy today. I don't think the body politic of the world are aware that in the People's Republic of China, there are more than 1 million foreigners who are there for business, for various other things, and so on and so forth. And China is the second biggest economy in the world. Chinese export are the biggest in the world. So this coronavirus threat as an economic threat is mainly on account of China.
Right.
And However, there were 3 big stock exchanges in the world. After that, you have smaller stock exchanges, the New York, Tokyo, and London. So-called 3 hubs of the world.
Right.
One can argue this. I'm not going into that.
Yeah.
But they are the indicators of stock exchange.
Yeah, their money market here.
The money market, as you put it, or so on and so forth. You've seen the Wall Street crash, you've seen the London crash, you've seen the Tokyo crash. Not only have these currencies...
We have seen Dhaka crash, we have seen Chittagong crash.
You've seen Dhaka crash, you've seen... These are small crashes. You see, the Indian Sensex has had a crash. I'm not talking about it. You see, because the stock exchange in India is just a little higher than, say, Portugal.
Yeah.
You know, which is a very small country,
Right.
underpopulated and among the poorer nations. But talking about the pandemic,
Yeah.
which is coming, probably culminating now, have you noticed it hasn't touched Eastern Europe, the former Soviet bloc? Not one. There are cases in France, there are places in northern Italy completely locked off.
Yep.
You can't travel outside or go in.
Right.
And
It has hit our shores.
it's hit our 15 so far. No fatalities, 2 in France.
No, one fatality today.
Today,
Yep.
1 fatality
in UK.
in UK. But however, it has become a very serious threat. In Wuhan itself, where it originated, China has, if you take statistics into account, they have over, out of 100,000 cases, they have over 80,000.
They may not be the right figures, you see, because
China is a difficult country to control, but I'd say 90% is China. It originated from China.
yeah.
There are spiritual reasons you can point out why it originated from China. Again, this is a Muslim theory.
Yeah, of course.
However, I'm not going into that, but after China, which is the next country that's in their border, South Korea.
Yeah.
What is happening in North Korea, we don't have a clue. But what we learned from North Korean media, there is not one case. So far, so good. South Korea, it is limited to a church group who have got it. What we have realized is it's a highly contagious disease, and what they call virologists in the UK, what I see in the BBC, they explain it in 2 ways. One is washing hands
Yeah.
and not touching anyone else, checking fever.
Yeah.
The other virologist said, no, this is airborne. So perhaps it's a bit of both.
Don't breathe.
You see? So perhaps it's a bit of both. But in this country, I don't think there's very serious effects of this. Yet, the pandemic restrictions with schools being closed for 2 weeks.
Right. See.
Because
We have
someone
half
came
a
from
minute
North,
to conclude this discussion. We have a half a
someone came from North Italy,
minute. Yeah.
and now whether they have coronavirus or not, the school is closing down
Yes.
2 weeks.
Because he has sneezed here.
Or deemed to have done something which could seem to be. This is how.
Let's
it
hope things
terrifies.
get better soon.
Yes, let's
And
hope
on
so.
that positive note, we say goodbye. Let's say thank you very much for coming
Thank you.
along.
Thank
and
you
thank
for
you for your
having
time.
me. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. We talked about the political turmoil, we talked about coronavirus, and we talked about the importance of language and the economic impact of all these 3 things. See you sometime again next week,
Inshallah.
same channel, same time. In the meantime, take care.
Thank you.